What's up, everyone? So yesterday I did my 1,000 mile review on the Tank 200 Deluxe, and I ended up losing the end of my video because of mic issues. So basically what I did was whenever I started the video, look, there's a little rabbit. Anyway, when I started the video, I checked the mic, make sure that it was, connected and recording. And then I got out to the park and I shut off the GoPro 9, which is on my helmet, and I switched to my GoPro 7 for the review. And then when I left the park, I didn't check the mic on the Hero 9 when I turned it back on. And it's happened a couple times where I think when you use the quick record, you just press the record button and the camera turns on and starts recording. It doesn't always register that there's an external mic plugged in. So when I left the park, I just put the helmet on, I pressed record, and I left. So it didn't register that the mic was plugged in. So it used the mic from the media mod, and of course you can't hear a thing I say when that happens. All you can hear is everything outside of the helmet. So not only did I lose the end of my review video, but on my way home I started a second video and I talked about a couple things, and I lost all that too. So I'm out here again to pretty much remake that second video and talk about what I talked about yesterday. But yeah, as far as the mic issue, I have some extensions where I can raise the GoPro up in front of the visor so I can see the screen, and that way when I press record I can check to see if the mic is connected. But two problems with that. One, I would have to use two extensions, and I just don't like the look of it at all. Two, I already have to tilt my head down a little to see the speedometer, and if I raise the camera up even just a little bit in front of the visor, I would have to tilt my head even more to look at the speedometer. And besides, I don't really want anything in front of the visor because it would just be distracting. I want to be able to see everything I can through my visor and not have anything in front of it. Alright, I'm out here on the highway. So anyway, what I was talking about yesterday was long distance trips and what I'm thinking about, what I'd like to plan. And it's looking like I'll probably wait until like later in the year, in the fall, when it cools down, because one thing I can't do is full body gear and heat. I just can't do it. I don't really have any gear other than I do have some riding gloves. Not these, but I have riding gloves, and I got a full face helmet, and I got a half helmet that I wear when I'm not filming. But yeah, if I'm going to go on a long distance trip, I want to be able to put on more gear, and it's looking like it's not going to be during the summer. So I'll probably wait until like October or November when it cools down a bit and I can wear gear and not overheat. I'm thinking maybe I'll go to Herman, Missouri. That's only, I think, 120 or 130 miles. And there's a guy I watch on YouTube, goes by the name 87 Ricer. He does scooter videos, motorcycle videos, just riding around town or just out in the country. And he lives in Herman, so I figured go down there, meet him, you know, do a riding video with him and then come back home. And that way, you know, that'll be a good test for this thing. If I could ride this thing 130 miles and then the next day ride it 130 miles back, you know, and that'd be a good test. The last time I rode long distance on a scooter, I rode 320 miles on a 50cc. Did it in 13 hours, but I was like, I don't know, I think 20 years old. You know, I'm about to turn 40 now, and the body's not the way it used to be. It's gonna be quite a trip. So yeah, that's basically what I was talking about yesterday, was, you know, what I'm wanting to do, where I'm wanting to go on this thing. And I said in an earlier video that I wanted to do it sometime this summer. Well, I can't do the heat. You know, if I'm gonna wear full body gear, I don't want to do it in the heat. So I'll wait until like in the fall when it cools down a bit. Also, I want to get some better tires on this thing, because I think the ones that are on here are causing some of the vibrations that I still have, because they're definitely not street tires. So they're more like an all-terrain tire, and I need to get some street tires on this. Maybe it'll be a little bit smoother ride. So I'm just riding around town, and the wind feels nice, but it is so muggy and humid that if I stop at a stoplight, I just instantly start to sweat, because that's how hot it is, and I hate it. You know, during the winter at least you can dress up. During the summer you can only dress down so much, and if you're gonna go on a long scooter trip, you know, you got to put more on. And that's why I'm gonna wait until towards the end of the year, you know, before it gets cold, but after all this heat. There's some fireworks stands being set up. It's been a few years since I've bought fireworks. I usually just go to fireworks shows. But yeah, I might get some this year, I don't know. Nothing, you know, too big and fancy and expensive, but yeah, I might get some fireworks this year. Another reason I wanted to come out here, not only to remake that video, but because I wanted to do some more longer rides out of town. Because that 50cc I had, anytime I went out, you know, to ride, I'd stay in town. It was just the same boring thing over and over. So I got this thing, you know, so I can go faster and go out of town. So that's what I'm doing now. But I won't spend too much time out here because the sun's going down. And the road I'm on now, actually there's a lot of deer that come out here at night. So I gotta be careful, you know, how far out I go. Because if it's dark on the way back, I'm gonna have to be really careful. I still have to slow down on curves like this because I'm still not quite used to leaning on this thing. Also, you got these rock roads here. You know, some of these rock roads are on a curve like this. So you want to be careful leaning on a curve next to a rock road, because you know, there could be rocks out in the road. You don't want to hit those. Yeah, I'm just not used to doing curves. whenever I do take that trip to Ohio and down to Herman, Missouri, I'm gonna be taking back roads like this, because so far, you know, it's just me out here. Don't see any other cars. I would hope that I don't take windy ones like this. But yeah, it's gonna be all back roads when I take those trips. Definitely not going on any major highways or interstates. I don't think I've ever been out this far on this road. I know there's a house somewhere out here that I used to live in with my mom and dad when I was like 2 years old. And according to Google Maps, the house is still there. It looks a little different, but it's still there. But I'm not gonna go 10 miles out here, not today. I need to turn around and get back before it gets dark. That's the first car I've seen. It's not even a car, it's a side-by-side. So yeah, I'm gonna turn around up here somewhere. Just gonna have to pick someone's driveway. Alright, maybe right here on this road. I just want to be able to see around the curve when I come back out. At least I'm getting some practice on these curves. I'm gonna need them whenever I do take these longer trips. I'll probably always slow down on curves instead of, you know, leaning more and more. But, you know, better safe than sorry. If I'm not an expert at it, I'm not gonna go leaning as far as I can. No center line. Well, it looks like I see a center line. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for any deer, because they'll be out. I'm surprised I haven't seen any yet on this road. Yeah, the one thing I like about these back roads is I can just take my time. You know, I'm only going 37. And I've been out a little ways on this road in my car. And I can do, you know, 55 around these curves. Not all of them, but, you know, like this curve here, I can go 55 around it. On a scooter, yeah, I'm comfortable here at 44. You ever watch those max risk videos and all those motorcycle crashes? You see that one crash? Probably the most horrible crash I've ever seen, where that guy hit the drainage ditch and just completely obliterated his motorcycle, and he was lucky to still be alive. That was a horrible crash. I'm not looking to do, you know, those kind of speeds. Ain't no way. I do want to get a Honda Rebel 1100 DCT, I don't care much, you know, for doing a clutch or, you know, shifting. But I do like the Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. It's got no clutch on it. It's got paddle shifters, but basically the bike is automatic, and then you can switch it to manual mode and use like the paddle shifters. But even in manual mode, if you're not in the right gear, it'll automatically, you know, switch gears for you. So overall, the whole thing is automatic, and I would like to, you know, get one of those and ride that around, because I've always wanted, you know, a motorcycle. I just never was interested in the clutch and shifting gears. You know, it's just not my thing. I had a 150 Super Hornet, which is a Chinese motorcycle scooter. It's a scooter, it's got 10-inch wheels, but it's built to look similar to like a Ninja. There's that deer. But yeah, that Super Hornet I had, you know, it looked like a motorcycle, but it was a scooter. And I like that thing. I was able to get it up to 60. And, you know, and it rode good, but it had 10-inch tires. So going 60 was, you know, kind of sketchy. But, yeah, I want, like, you know, an actual real motorcycle, like that Honda Rebel. But I want the DCT because I don't want to shift. I may, you know, play around with the manual mode and use the paddle shifters, because, you know, that's something I can do. But pulling the clutch and doing the shift, you know, with my foot, you know, just not into that. You know, not my thing. It might be a long time before I ever get one of those, because I ain't rich over here. Pretty much any nice thing I do have is with tax return money. You know, it's not like I have money sitting around to where, you know, I'm like, oh look, I want that thing, you know, and get it. You know, anything nice, like this scooter, you know, got it with tax money. So as that sun is going down, you would think that the wind would be a little bit cooler, but it's not. It's actually warming up. You know, the sun's going down and the humidity is going up. So when I started out on this ride, the wind was a little bit cooler, and now with the sun going down, it's just a little bit warmer. I have to remember to keep looking in the mirror and making sure that my camera is still recording. And I'm pretty sure it's getting all the audio, because I haven't shut off the camera once since I started. But gotta make sure that it's still on and recording, because you know, it can overheat inside this media mod. It shouldn't, you know, with all this wind blowing on it. But I have had it overheat and shut down on me while riding. And that was during the day when it was, you know, really hot and the sun's just beating down on it and the wind does nothing to cool it down. I could have stayed out on them country roads a little bit longer, you know, instead of coming back into town and stopping in this humidity. But you saw that deer out there, and I'm sure there's more out there now. The darker it gets, the more they come out. Come on, truck, go. It's 45 through here. Funny thing is, I got this thing so I can keep up with traffic. And you got this truck in front of me going 34 and a 45. Come on, I'm faster than you on this thing. That reminds me, someone asked me about how accurate the speedometer is. And I did that test one time on my phone with a GPS speedometer. Not sure how accurate that is, but I did that test on my 50cc and it was 5 miles off. So if the speedometer on the 50cc said 35, I was actually going 30. Well, on this thing, I used the same app, and it says it's only 1 mile off. So if it says 36 on the speedometer, I'm actually going 35. So if that GPS speedometer app is accurate, then the speedometer on this scooter is pretty accurate if it's only 1 mile per hour off. But on my 50cc, no, it was 5. So it would say 40 miles per hour, but I'm actually going 35. On this thing, you know, it says 29, and I'm actually going 28. So hopefully that's pretty accurate. Well, I think I'm gonna head on home. Think I made this video long enough. So as always, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again next time.